Freedom. Freedom they can know. BUHARI. Freedom Thomas in the moon they can know. Yeah. Freedom Thomas in the moon they can know. Na nebe, wa nebe, ubuda baka. Listen. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu n'ụwa maka mkpụrụ ikulu ka ị ga-aghọlụ. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu n'ụwa maka mkpụrụ ikulu ka ị ga-aghọlụ. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu n'ụwa maka mkpụrụ ikulu ka ị ga-aghọlụ. Onye na-enye ndụ adịghị enye ọnwụ. Ike dịrị Chukwu abịa mma. I've gone all around the world. Ike dịrị osebụrụ ụwa. Welu nwayọ, welu nwayọ, nwayọ. Welu nwayọ, welu nwayọ, nwayọ. Come on. Oh, things that pass away. But much surely come to pass on Judgment Day. Welu nwayọ, welu nwayọ. In a run more. Welu nwayọ. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu n'ụwa maka mkpụrụ ikulu ka ị ga-aghọlụ. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu n'ụwa maka mkpụrụ ikulu ka ị ga-aghọlụ. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu n'ụwa maka mkpụrụ ikulu ka ị ga-aghọlụ. They can know his freedom. Biafra Solomon with the wisdom. If I conquer BUHARI intimidation. Kumelo Biafra television and the radio station. We live in a mysterious world. My brother, you can't be told. If I never, onye get poor, he may pour the poor. If all on your dollar, if I never, onye get poor, he may pour the poor. If all on your dollar, if I never, onye get poor, he may pour the poor. If all on your pelato, if I never, onye get poor, he may pour the poor. If all on your pelato, onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu n'ụwa maka mkpụrụ ikulu ka ị ga-aghọlụ. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu n'ụwa maka mkpụrụ ikulu ka ị ga-aghọlụ. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu. Onye bukwa onye chi ya debelu n'ụwa maka mkpụrụ ikulu ka ị ga-aghọlụ. Dr. Money for real records fast on the beat.
The streets of London are not where you would expect to find protests for a breakaway region of Nigeria. But demonstrators came here in support of their leader. The voice of the indigenous people of Biafra, IKEM, a separatist movement that wants to break away from Nigeria, is this man, Nnamdi Kanu, a Nigerian British citizen who has been on the run since 2015. Kanu was arrested in June and extradited from Kenya back to Nigeria. It is part of a crackdown on growing calls for independence. Analysts say Kanu is just filling a vacuum left by multiple failures of government.
The increasing popularity of these calls is a direct consequence of the failures of the Nigerian state, or more broadly speaking, even of the Nigeria project.
The last time there were calls for independence in Nigeria, an estimated 1 to 3 million people died during the Biafran Civil War in 1967. But these calls are also being driven from outside Nigeria. This quiet London street is not exactly where you would expect to find the hub of a global network of pirate radio stations broadcasting a separatist agenda back into Nigeria. At the registered address, we meet Darlington Imo, Radio Biafra, a Kanu ally and Biafra Biafra sympathizer. Even with Kanu off the airwaves, his disciples remain committed to the cause. Do you think that Nnamdi's arrest, Mr. Kanu's arrest, means the end of Biafra?
Definitely not. If you kill one general, that general takes his place. Definitely not.
Yes.
Definitely not. We want the referendum. We are not asking for. We are asking for a referendum, a civilized thing to ask for.
Analysts say that is a pipe dream.
Well, I think first of all, the Nigerian government will be afraid to allow a referendum to happen. And the fact that it will be afraid to allow a referendum to happen shows just how deep the problem is.
But the cracks may be beginning to show. President Muhammadu Buhari tweeting in June about how the Nigerian government will deal with separatists. Twitter removed this post, deeming it offensive, and days later, Buhari banned the platform entirely from Nigeria. While Kanu remains in custody, that hasn't deterred protests in southeastern Nigeria, where IPOB had ordered a shutdown of work and economic activities every Monday, although that was recently suspended. What seems clear is that the nation could be at an impasse.
Worst case scenario, of course, is that before 2023, the country essentially de facto disintegrates, perhaps not into a full-blown civil war, but into a lot of skirmishes, into a lot of violence.
An already fractured nation can ill afford another conflict. So, Linda, there you have it. Those are the issues of the separatism facing the country right now. And of course, Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen, and this is an issue that the British government is watching closely. They issued a statement after his arrest saying that they are seeking clarification from the Nigerian government about the circumstances of his arrest and detention. But the Nigerian government is resolute, telling CNN in a statement that Nigeria is indissoluble and indivisible, and they say that they will continue with their methods of detection and prevention of crimes and internal security of the country. Linda.
So it's definitely a big question, really, is can the Nigerian government keep the country united by cracking down on this separatist group?
Well, analysts are telling me that this is a tough issue for any leader to deal with. And the country that all times the size of the UK, with a population of over 200 million people, and it's been divided so in recent years, and it's a country very strong ethnic identity, and those ethnic identities more strongly than the national identity. So analysts are saying the leaders are caught between a rock and a hard place. They can't afford to ignore calls for separatism to break away from the country. They must, but the crackdowns are really creating more support for this movement, ironically, Linda.
Thank you very much, guys. Good evening, everybody. This is your brother Mazin Patrick, and I'm coming to you this evening all the way from Veneto, Italy, and I want to say thank you very much to all of you that have come to witness this program this evening. And I want to say welcome. Please help share this program, make it go around. We're going to make it as brief, but if you can help us share this program, it will go a long way. It will go a very, very long way. I was not supposed to broadcast on Biafra television based on certain reasons, but I think I have to take the issue. I'm going to approach an issue. I made a video earlier today about a principal officer that I'll be addressing, but I'm going to take it from a different angle. I'm going to take it from a perspective. I'm going to brush it up, but what I'm focusing right now is more about the sit at home that will be taking place in the next 2 days, which is on Thursday. Thursday, 9th of September 2021. The JUBRIL of Sudan, who is big to Biafra land, invited by the Supreme Court Governor of Imo State, and the leadership of the indigenous people of Biafra have, put that day on hold. There's no kind of movement. There's no sit-home on that day. So on Thursday night, will be sit at home for Biafrans. So for many of you who have been fighting, you want to sit at home, you want to, despite the suspension of the sit at home, many Biafrans still maintain the Monday sit at home. You see why it is important that we follow orders. When the Directorate of State told our people to save the energy, majority of the people said, no, we are going to sit at home, notwithstanding on every Monday as scheduled. And now, a situation where we have to sit at home on Thursday. And we urge everybody in Biafra land to pass the message across, continue to push, continue to do our people. Somebody said here, that, let me read the comment about somebody complaining that the sit at home is, this sit at home isn't benefiting us. Anything, rather, some of us Biafrans are losing and a hardship during this sit at home. By Chijioke, Raphael Chijioke, who said that sit at home is affecting his business. And Raphael Chijioke, can you please indicate what kind of business you do? Raphael Chijioke said that sit at home is affecting his business. Can you please tell us, can you drop a comment and tell us the kind of business you do that we'll be able to address you, because we understand that millions of Biafrans are making the big sacrifice. Despite the suspension of the sit at home, they decided to still continue on their own to sit at home. So I like Raphael Chijioke to tell us the kind of business he's into, so that we'll be able to address it from there. No, it's not the intention of anybody for Biafra to suffer, but what we have embarked on is already a journey offering, long suffering and pain. And if sitting at home is going to be part of our effort in sending the message across, in letting the world know how bad we feel, I think it goes a long way. It will make a lot of sense that we sit at home to send our grievances out there, because if you sit at home in one day, it doesn't change the fact that you haven't actually lost nothing. Rather, you have gained dignity, you have gained that sense of who you are. Your ability to also obey orders and being able to send a strong message across the world. We do business from January to December. If we have to dedicate one day, which is on Thursday, to disgrace JUBRIL, who will be coming to Biafra land, because normally when the likes of JUBRIL come, they used to be hold up because of business activities. They used to be this jam-packed environment where people are inconvenienced as a result of the convoy. So JUBRIL will become Imo with the road free for him to drive around. Then he will be able to understand that our people are not joking. So the leadership of IPOB have placed Thursday, 9th of September, a day of sit at home, and all of us have to make that sacrifice. And it is the right thing to do. And I'll be playing a clip here. The response of the MYETTI towards the southern governors. Let's take and bring the analysis.
Anti-grazing laws and banning of grazing is a satanic agenda to destroy of livelihood by desperate politicians acting on faulty and self-serving security reports. It is Frederick Bessia in 1801, in his Economic Sufism, who said, when plunder becomes a way of life of a group of men living together in a society, they create for themselves in the course of time a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it. This is a clear case of the current rush to create negative laws against our cultural heritage. Anti-grazing laws and policies are attempts to ban open grazing are nothing but populist and corrupt-driven agenda designed by visionless, inept, and desperate politicians to destroy pastoralist means of livelihood. These dangerous and satanic laws must be nipped in the bud by the National Assembly to safeguard the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as it portends greater danger to the corporate existence of the country. These oppressive laws and hostile policies being enacted by state governors are fundamentally going against the Fulani pastoralist culture, economic interests, and constitutional rights. It is important to note that interstate movement of pastoralists is similar to interstate commerce, which is an exclusive preserve of the legislative powers of the National Assembly under Item 62 of the exclusive legislative list. To this effect, any action taken by any state assembly that is in conflict with the above section of the 1999 Constitution as amended is null and void and of no effect and of no consequences to the pastoralists. These laws do not take into cognizance the sociology, economic of product creation, and other push factors that are inherent in pastoralist movements across ecological zones. It is a common knowledge that Nigerian mode of agricultural practice is still primitive all over the country and are not consistent with global best practices. So why singling out the pastoralists who have been suffering from cumulative years of neglect of development from both federal, state, and local governments? There is a looming danger and security implications of these satanic laws by the ill-informed governors of national security. The laws will destroy livestock production and send into poverty millions of people that depend on livestock value chain. The butchers, the transporters, the livestock dealers, the consumers who are used to affordable source of beef and milk are going to be affected. The laws will undermine relative peace and stability currently enjoyed in local communities and threaten social order. The laws will exacerbate cattle rustling in local communities as criminal gangs and state-sponsored vigilantes like Amotekun and other state-sponsored gangs to be rustling our cattle. The laws will lead to a serious humanitarian crisis as families will be destabilized, market and economic livelihood will be disrupted. The laws will lead to massive cross-border migration that will create further security challenges for the country. Our prayers. The National Assembly and Mr. President to intervene and stop the current attempts by some state governors to criminalize our means of livelihood of cattle rearing through enacting of satanic and obnoxious laws. They call anti-grazing laws, which I call antichrist, targeted at Fulani pastoralists. The federal government should create livestock and fisheries as obtainable in many African countries. Nigerians should adopt strategies in responding to changes of climate change as it affects livestock production, not negative laws. Government should take an inventory of all existing grazing reserves, traditional grazing areas, transhumance corridors, major stock routes, and fully develop at least one grazing reserve in each senatorial zone in line with the recommendation of the Interministerial Committee on Livestock Development in Nigeria 2015, the report of Presidential Committee on Pastoralists and Insecurity 2014, and the Livestock Transformation Program. The existing African Union and ECOWAS protocols, regulations of pastoralists and transhumans should be domesticated and proper documentation and implementation strategies be put in place to check illegal migrations into the country. The government should incorporate pasture development in the implementation of the Great Grain Wall in combating the certification and preservation of small water bodies. A review of the Land Use Act is long overdue to accommodate the interests of all land resource users, particularly pastoralists who are in need of land to do their business. Ranching, as envisaged by many, requires massive capital investment and is difficult to sustain, not economical, and is not smallholder centered. So government should lead in the creation of ranches, because a poor stakeholder cannot have the money to buy land to create ranches. We are calling on the funding of the National Commission for Nomadic Education and expansion of its mandate to educate pastoralists to imbibe modern ways of livestock production. The National Assembly should come to the rescue of the pastoralists, passing the Grazing Reserve Commission Bill and other livestock management bills that were initiated in previous National Assembly and still. There is need to in livestock tracking using GPS technology and support community-based conflict mechanism. In a similar vein, our organization totally condemns the continuous extortion of Fulani pastoralists and profiling of Fulanis by the governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, and call on him to offer an unreserved apology to the Fulani race for the tissues of lies, propaganda, falsehood against the Fulani ethnic group, particularly our organization, the MYETTI Alakautalhore. Our organization applauds the renewed effort agencies in the massive onslaught against criminals, cattle rustlers, kidnappers, bands, particularly the near decimation of Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast, arrest of the notorious Biafran terrorist Nnamdi Kanu, and the smoking of the murderous Yoruba bandit gangster Sunday Igboho that is languishing in Benenwa prison. Our organization totally condemned the utilizations of one emir of Muri in Taraba State for genocidal propaganda against the Fulani pastoralists, and have since taken the necessary legal steps against the misguided local monarch, and have written to the Taraba State governor to immediately dethrone the French monarch. Finally, we commend the courageous federal government under the progressive leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari for listening to our consistent call to restore existing grazing reserves and routes, create new ones, as it is the only sustainable solution to the farmer-herder conflict in this country. What is the arable land we have in Nigeria? We have over 38.7 million hectares. How much is being cultivated? Less than 40% of that land is under cultivation. That is one. Secondly, we have marginal lands that are not cultivatable. The hill areas, lands that are not meant for agriculture, nobody is cultivating. The whole thing, the policy is not designed to bring peace and progress. You must accommodate the pastoralists. You must first agree that they are Nigerians, that this challenge of land resource use have to be addressed. Once we address it, look at the nature of agricultural practice. It's still rudimentary, extensive cultivation of land. So the land is enough. What we don't have is the will and the moderate these pastoralists. Just because they don't have title on the land, that doesn't remove them from being Nigerians. Their need for the land has always been opportunistic. Now that agreed population have increased, what strategies are there in place? Technology is there to address the issues. But you cannot say we should just go and create ranches in the air. We love to have ranches. We love to have our children, our people settle in one place to develop. But when you give a zero option, you either ranch or you live to where? What I expected from these governors to consider these areas as their citizens, designate places for them, which we have it all over the country. They are not after taking anybody's land. All over the West African sub-region, China's have not grabbed land anywhere. Even when they had opportunity to grab land, they have never grabbed land because their need for land is opportunistic. So now we are facing a challenge in this country where we have conflict between farmers and herders. And it's basically land resource conflict on land and water. What do you need is a proper land management that we need in place. Rent the ranches. We are ready to rent the ranches. We can say that we will ranch or we go. Who will even give you the land? Look at the Land Use Act. For you to access 5 hectares of land, the governor have to approve it for you. You have already mobilized the population, the local citizens, against the herders as the people perpetrating conflict. Who will now offer them land if they want to buy? So you must see this thing in a wider perspective. But the truth is that the herders will not go anywhere. They are Nigerians. So if you destroy their means of livelihood, you'll be faced with other challenges of crisis, banditry, and what have you. That's why we are concerned. That's why we're shouting and crying. We love peace more than anybody. The head carry everything he has on his head, including his family. So he will be the last person to look for crisis. But what we will not accept is for the country or the narrative to hang insecurity on the others. We are victims. If you have rural areas that are ungovernable, you have bandits, you have terrorists terrorizing rural areas, it's not the responsibility of innocent herders to fish them out. It's the responsibility, it's the failure of government to do that. We are also victims. So by the time you think you can use ethnic profiling and brand every header as a criminal, then you're not helping the situation. Even those that are not in crime, you now push them to association. Clearly the one from Katsina State, my state, is confused. Because in front of the Padama areas have been taken over. All the watering points that are meant to serve both herders and farmers have been converted into Padama areas for cultivation. They are supposed to be the leading states in finding solution to this crisis because these herders are culturally attuned to the people. They are mostly from there. They should create ranches to serve as example for other states to copy. They should provide amenities to these herders. So all these pretensions they are doing, they are running out from their responsibilities. They allow this crisis to accumulate and also affect other parts of the country. What you see happening in Zamfara, Katsina, Niger State is a consequence of abandoning the herders over the years, neglecting them. No education, no any development of the livestock sector. And you now want to force them into banditry. It's a failure of governance. So they have transportation of transporting cattle. The business of the value chain of our business involves everybody in the society, not just planning people. So can they, if they close down the whole market, probably it's for temporary security measures. Maybe they want to do some operations, as we know that it's ongoing in Zamfara. But I know nobody would say I'm closing cattle markets over the country because the people that markets sustain, you cannot imagine when you go down. How many are employed by government? So we support any security measure that will bring peace. What we are saying is that we are the first line of victims of these bandits. The new Minister of Agriculture, I pray he will not join the bandwagon of those somersaulting from Ruga to ranching, Brazilian grass, tomorrow livestock transformation. What we need is simple. Designate grazing areas for us. Develop massive infrastructure that herders will have communal use there. It's not difficult to create dams and say this area is for herders. Then introduce the modernization gradually. You have where you do the breeding, you have people that develop the feed slots, but the governors are not investing in anything. How do they expect to solve the problem? When you check their expenditure profile, security vote, billions. I pray EFCC.
So we've seen the MYETTI Allah propagating open grazing, and we are going to take a look at the consequences of this open grazing. Because when we talk about open grazing, it's just as if that these people have land. In fact, what was coming to my mind was, so these people do not actually own nothing. They don't have a piece of land that they can say, okay, this is where they're coming from. Where are they coming from? Where are these people coming from? You are making demand on land. making demand that people should give their land, they should designate where you can go and feed your cows and all that. So I can't, I don't know how to respond. I'm so confused, believe me. I'm so confused. Look at the argument. You now find out that indirectly that they have admitted that they are the one causing insecurity. Because he made references to Niger State and other northern states that villages have been ransacked. And because of that level of insecurity, what is happening there, he's blaming it on inability of those communities to accommodate them. So automatically they have admitted that they are the one causing the whole insecurity. So they go about killing people, burn down villages, destroying people's crops, destroying people's way of life. They are creating terrorism all over the place. Now, how do you expect people to give you a chance in their community? The people are not feeling safe. That your presence in the community is a threat. Where you bring your car, you destroy their crops. When you destroy virtually everything that the people own. They turn the car business to a car business that is owned as if it's owned by everybody. But this is supposed to be a private business. If you can't run your cattle business, then why not look for other things to do with your life? If you do not have the means of funding your cattle business, then why other businesses, whatever that your hands can lay on? I mean, there are so many businesses today that are not even getting the kind of support that MYETTI is getting. No business in the zoo corner, not even the oil that is feeding the zoo is getting the kind of support that MYETTI and the cattle rearing is getting today. Let's take a look at part of the clips, what communities have to go through because Fulani have to graze, Fulani have to feed their cow. Let's take a look at how communities have been ransacked. People are running away from their homes just because Fulanis want to feed their cow.
Madam,
So you find out that cities are feeling threatened because of these Fulani atrocities, moving around, killing people, and they are blaming it on the communities, that they fail to accommodate them, that they are supposed to give them where they can, give them water, everything is going to be free. It's going to be free for them. So when they finish, when they get all the assets for free, they still sell their cow back to the community at exorbitant rates. And they are forcing themselves. That is the problem. And the question we are asking is, all these people that are parading with these cows, where are they coming from? Go and take over people's land and say you want to graze there. Where are you coming from? Who are you? We cannot ascertain their identities. We cannot. That is the problem. Let's take a look at what Autumn have to say.
Without security, there can be no meaningful development. So all of us must join together to ensure that we provide for security men and women in our country to be able to provide safety for everyone at a time that people are becoming lawless and are being encouraged. I watched with dismay yesterday the uncalled for utterances of an association confronting government. It's not just state governments that are confronting the federal government, but unfortunately, now the presidency will not come out to condemn or to say anything concerning what MYETTI has said, because they are part of it. And I ask them to come out clean on this matter. It is unfortunate. Our people are dying. I have more than 1.5 million IDPs. People are dying, and MYETTI are coming out to claim responsibility.
MYETTI have sent over 1.5 million Benue indigenes into IDP camps, and they have claimed responsibility. They hide it. They said they are the perpetrators, that they are taking up. In fact, the owners of the land are now in IDP camps, internal whatever camp, where they, in your own land, you are now sent into a camp in your own land because Fulani want to feed cow. Let's continue from where we stop with Samuel Autumn.
For the killings and the pains that people have. Then you tell me I should keep quiet. I should not talk about it. What is it? MYETTI coming to say that if we don't be our laws, we will not know peace. And then where are the security men? Where is the federal government? Why are they not arresting them? MYETTI are responsible for the banditry, for the kidnappings, for the killings that are going on in Benue State and other parts of Nigeria. And then federal government is romancing with them, providing security for the leadership. And they have the guts to come out and say that they took me to court when I enacted a law, and we defeated them. Let them go back again. They have the right to appeal. We are ready to go to Supreme Court because we are a law-abiding people. But this evil agenda that MYETTI have and collaborating with the federal government, it is not accepted. For me, I commend the security agencies. You here in Benue State, you have been doing your best. And as I say, more than one security men have been killed in the course of providing security for lives and Benue State, in the course of implementing this law. We have not committed any evil. We have done the right thing by ensuring that we are law-abiding. That was why we legislated. And the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria provides that we are free to make laws as a state, as long as it conflicts with the provisions of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And tell me how MYETTI, what do you call a terrorist organization, who have taken responsibility for killings and are coming to challenge governors, that laws have been made.
This MYETTI Allah is not supposed to be even granting him interview. They are not supposed to, they are supposed to be in the hiding. Because the crime that they have committed against humanity is a crime that they are supposed to be held responsible for. That man, the MYETTI Allah man that you see there, earlier speaking, is supposed to be cooling off somewhere in DSS custody or in one jail, because they have sponsored the killing of the people. But today they are the one controlling. You are the one in charge. In fact, in threatening even the governors of the southern region, telling them, calling them all sorts of names, telling them that in fact, if they do not change the laws in their favor, that there is not going to be peace in the land. Just imagine that, the level of audacity of MYETTI Allah. Let's continue from where Samuel Autumn stopped.
I'm against that. And I once again call on if they ban IKEM and organization, they should do the same thing to MYETTI. If they stop Igbo, they should also do the same thing. If not, that is injustice. They are unfair. There's no call on federal government to do that.
If the zoo government can tag IPOB a terrorist organization without any motive, without any reason, if they can tag IPOB a terrorist organization, tag Sunday Igboho, the Yoruba agitators, terrorists, and they are about to make it legal and official, they have already promised they are going to tag them, officially prescribe them, then, and these are people that have not committed any crime, they have killed anybody, they are just peaceful protesters making demand for referendum. But MYETTI that have come out in the public to admit that they sponsor the case, the MYETTI Allah are the one holding microphone and dictating what law and how the law should be made in their favor.
We have never been provoked to begin to take arms and all that. The Commissioner has said the Commissioner is free any person that is disobeying the laws of the land. Please, I will not come in support of such a person. Go ahead and do your law. Arrest them and prosecute them. I will not come to plea for any individual here, and I call on my people to continue to be law-abiding. At no time should anybody tied to be lawless.
It depends on what you call lawlessness. The people have the right to defend themselves. So I have already told you in this program that you have a duty, Samuel Autumn, to mobilize people to defend themselves. Because in Nigeria, there is no law. There is no law that does not exist. Nigeria is a jungle where the strong feed on the carcass of the weak. So you telling your people not to defend themselves by being, which law are they abiding to? A law that is against them. Abiding by a law that is against Samuel Autumn, it is time you are doing your best as a governor, but your best is not good enough, in my opinion. You must tell your people to mobilize themselves to defend their communities. That is what we should not. How do you, which law does Nigeria have any law in the first place? Your political class, the presidency, the people, the cabal and also do they obey the law? They don't. So why should you be telling people that they should be law abiding by making themselves vulnerable? Because that is what it means. When you talk about abiding by the law, you make yourself vulnerable, you make yourself open to attack. And these are the things to be saying that Samuel Autumn need to stand up to mobilize people to do the needful and defend their communities.
Because laws can only bring anarchy. And anarchy, nobody knows the limit that we can go. Even the security agencies themselves will be in trouble. I, as a governor, will be in trouble. Because without the law,
Samuel Autumn, you're already in trouble. The people of the state in trouble. Everybody is in trouble. There is anarchy in the land already. Yes, somebody said my voice is cracking. I believe it's as a result of technical issues, obviously. But you just have to bear with me. I will try my best to how we can deal with that. But a lot is talking about anarchy. There is anarchy in the land already. What is the worst thing that can happen to a people when you have to be moved into an IDP camp? Internal displaced, that you are now considered a displaced person in your own community. Is there any, in your own word here, you said that you have over 1.5 million Benue indigenes who are in IDP camp. Is there any anarchy more than that, Governor Autumn? I don't think there is no anarchy that is bigger than 1.5 million Benue indigenes who are in a displaced camp, in their own community. When you talk about anarchy, it means you are still living in denial. You have not come to terms with the reality that there is already an anarchy, and the people must rise up. And you as a government have the responsibility to mobilize your people, arm them to defend themselves, because you are already living in that anarchy situation, and you cannot come at this anarchy that you have right now by obeying this law. It's because if the MYETTI Allah obey the law, they wouldn't even kill the people. So how do you obey? Some people will be meant to obey the law, others are meant to break the law. That is complete inequality, and it's unacceptable that there are some people who are licensed to break the law, kill people, rename communities, burn down houses, and you are telling the other people, who the victims, to obey the law. For me, it doesn't work that way.
What is the instrument protecting me? And what will be the instrument protecting even the security agencies? So as we allow impunity to continue, because they have their way with the presidency. This is unfortunate. Everybody wants me to stop talking, but I can't stop talking when injustice is continuing. Give me justice, equity, and fairness. Then you will never see me talk again. If I talk, remove my ears. That's what I stand for. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not against anyone. And let me say this insinuation that I saw President, I have never liked insulted Mr. President. I only say the truth. All that I want is the right thing to be done, and what I say is the right. I wanted to see the president, I was blocked. They say I will not see him. Say I'm insulting president. So where is the insult? Can the presidency come, or any other the president, respond to all the issues that have been raised in this country? In my state and in this country, can they respond to one? Instead of insulting me and castigating me, let them respond to those issues.
Samuel Autumn, I would say that you've done. In fact, you are a man that I love so much. I give it to you. You are a man that I love so much, because in the Eastern region, if we have had one or two governors speaking the way you speak, standing straight as a man, maybe things would have been much easier. But there is still more to be done. When you talk about insulting the president, in the first place, do you really have a president? That is the question we should be asking. And who is the person in Aso that deserves respect? We are talking about 1.5 million Benue indigenes in IDP camp, and you are talking about insulting a president. I mean, in a normal society, do you think that this person you are calling president is supposed to be sitting there by now? looking at the level of damage that he has done to the people that he's supposed to protect. So you talk about insult. Insult is an understatement. He deserves worse than insult.
Against anybody. Those ones that are causing these problems, and Mr. President himself accepted that these people are from outside this country, from Mauritania, from Libya, from Niger, from Senegal, from Chad, and all that. Why do we need to allow Fulani from all these countries to come and destroy our land? That is the point we are saying. So unnecessary, they've given unnecessary stress and risks to our security agencies in Nigeria, whether soldiers have been killed, police have been killed, PSS have been killed, civil defense have been killed. These are people with families. We leave them suffering. So let me say this: federal government must come clean on this matter and arrest MYETTI, a terrorist organization, and declare them terrorists. They are the ones sponsoring all the killings in Benue. They are responsible. They have accepted that they kill people here, and federal government is not ready to go after that. That is why they have the cause to be doing this.
Yes, so Samuel Otom, you are a great guy. I give it to you. You've done a very wonderful defense of your people and your position in this case here. But I can tell you that you need to stop speaking like an activist and start acting as an executive governor of the state, because you own it a responsibility to protect the lives of people in Benue State. The life of people in Benue, their life is precious to us, and we need protection. The life of thief people, all these people need protection. You must rise up, mobilize your people. MYETTI have two heads. They have one head like every other person. And you must, as a governor, mobilize your people. I've said it before, that there was a time in Ekiti State where I rose up and mobilized hunters in Ekiti State. And he left that legacy behind. But who was formed. Ayofawoshe stood up and mobilized hunters to go after these people that were destroying, raping, burning, pillaging. So I think it is the right thing for you to, rather you trying to paint it and make it look as if the JUBRIL in Sudan, the JUBRIL from Sudan is going to love you. They are not going to love you even in your peaceful approach. And there is no way you can use peace to confront a man that is so violent. So you need to mobilize the people and them to be able to defend themselves. Let's take a look at the situation in since 2001 and where we are today.
September 7th, 2001, the day that shattered the peace of Jos, the Plateau State capital, that will mark the beginning of violence that will eventually engulf most parts of the state. 21, conflict to find all solutions. Some stakeholders, not deterred by this, are still putting heads together to find a way out.
A very significant day for us people, because on the 7th of September 2001, like someone described it, just lost its innocence.
2 decades apart from the loss of countless lives and property, there is a generation that has grown knowing only violence.
I'm fortunate to have had my first child. She was someone who the only she knows is crisis.
But why has this crisis lasted so long? Define all solutions.
We have since moved from conflict to criminality. Unfortunately for us today, criminals are the ones setting the agenda on how we live.
At this forum put together by the Plateau State Peace Building Agency, some solutions were preferred.
Politicians, religious leaders, some of them, you hear things they say, you wonder what is the religion. The vast of Plateau people for which we know we've lost the values.
They hope that after 20 years of violence and destruction, some valuable lessons would have been learned to return Plateau State to the home of peace and tourism. Vicky Dapo, AIT News, Jos.
Since 2001 have been under siege since 2001, and this is 20 years that the plateau has been ravaged. Plateau has been ravaged. As at, I used to travel to all those areas around 98, 97, 98, 99. I traded around that area, Bauchi, Gombe. If I was going to Gombe on trade, buying food down to Biafra land at the time. I was a very young man. Travel, the level of insecurity as at the time, what we had was armed robbers in some occasions. But today, the situation has deteriorated to the point that people have practically abandoned their homes. That it is even safer to abandon your home than to be in your homes. And here we are speaking grammar every day, that we cannot even stand up and confront the issues, because it is very, very practical that those who have the affairs of this have failed over time, and the people must rise up and take their destiny in their hands. I don't want us to take much time. I'll be reading some of your comments. Lord, we've seen people here trying to quarrel with each other, dress, say supposed to sit at home. Definitely, our people will be sitting at home on the 9th, which is in the next 2 days. For all of you that have been saying we want to sit at home, here it is now. Officially, you'll be sitting at home on the 9th, which is a Thursday, to demonstrate to Bubu, the imposter, that is not welcome, because it is an embarrassment that you go to someone's house and the person refuses to come out or even give you the attention that you need. You quietly go back to where you are coming from. So JUBRIL is going to have a feast with his APC members, definitely. But we are encouraging everybody to sit at home, avoid casualties, because it might be very, very dangerous coming out that day. It might be very dangerous. So we encourage our people to sit back and not to step out on the 9th of September, which is in 2 days' time. Stay at home, stay in your houses, prepare yourself ahead of that day, ahead of time. Anything you need to buy, start preparing now. Whatever you need, prepare ahead of time. It's a big sacrifice that needs to be made, and it is worth making it. So there is still an issue I would love to address as regard to certain IPOB principal officers who have completely, lost their mind, who have abandoned the IPOB structure and they are going about creating fusions everywhere. And we are using this opportunity, personally myself, to tell Biafrans not to be distracted. Let's not be distracted by sentiment. Let's not be distracted by people's emotion. We must focus on the goal that is ahead of us, which is the freedom of our leaders and the canon, our demand for referendum. And we are also campaigning for boycott of Anambra election that is coming. So we will continue to intensify in these areas. We must understand that we have just one structure that is left behind. And that structure is the responsibility of everybody to support, which is the structure of the Directorate of State. Without the structure of the Directorate of State, the Biafra struggle will make no meaning. We are not going anywhere. We don't have any direction. Let's come together, rally around the Directorate of State, give them all the necessary support they need. Rather than sitting back and castigating and trying to destroy what our leader have built over the years. We must understand the principles which this IPOB was built, which is the pure principle of command and control. Our leader told us that whatever you are asked to do, do it first before you come back to ask questions. And if anybody within this structure default, then they would also be made to give account of their mistakes or errors. And we cannot resolve our issues on social media. We cannot resolve internal IPOB issues on social media. There are mechanisms. No matter how long it will take, no matter how long, we must be perseverant. We need to be patient rather than coming out to, destroy everything we have built because we feel pained or we feel that things haven't gone in the way we expect them to go. And you're not going to resolve the problem. You rather add more to the problem. Also, the Directorate of State, this IPOB structure, this IPOB system that is created, yes, they need your moral support as well. And you cannot give it to them without the office of these men who are working on the ground, doing everything possible to make sure that we sustain struggle. Without them, we don't have a direction. And these are the issues I want to bring to our attention. I don't want to go personal. But I believe that people who are busy making accusations against their fellow principal officers should understand that why you finger, 4 fingers are also pointing at you. So when you accuse your fellow principal officer, don't also forget that you're also accountable to those accusations. It is very, very important that before we make accusations, we must understand also the implications. And when you make an accusation, the person accusing remains also innocent until proven guilty. So on that note, I want to bring the end of this program for today. Unfortunately, Mazi Solomon is supposed to join me. I think I'll be featuring him tomorrow. Somebody have already asked what of Mazi Solomon. And maybe tomorrow, Mazi Solomon will be coming to join us in this program. And I would like us to share this program and make it go around. And until I see you again, my name remains Mazi IKEM Patrick DK. Wonderful night, and God bless you all.
Oko shepi and then G le kwasa. Oshepi, fly by your man. I never. Make them go pull our girls. Everybody, rise up. We no fighting, just up. No be so. No be so. We gonna share every day. People just a show. For family was wiped back by Fulanis. So Jackie boy used to call them terrorists. We touch them the canoe, you go cause war. We touch it on the bow, you go cause war. Macadam, no, it's not the time we go change for them. Change for them, tell them we know this song. When you go pull your book, they might not say, Igbo people have been marginalized. IPOB have been brutalized. We no go sit down there. Purchase your tracks today. Make them come kill all of us. We no go sit down there, look. We can't take our life. We no go sit down there, look. Bring this up the house like us. We no go sit down there, look. Make them come and pull our hair. Purchase your tracks today. Instead of up, they take us down. Instead of right, they take us left. Buru the change. They promise to change, but we don't see the change. Why you don't let BIAFRA go? Are you not tired of killing them? There's not the time we go tender for them. Tender for them, tell them we don't be zombie. We no go sit down there, look. Make them go kill all of us. We no go sit down there, look. Make them go take our wallet. We no go sit down there, look. Make them stop the house like us. We no go sit down there, look. Make them go rape all our girls.
You see that person?